Good afternoon. Welcome back. It's the Ask Dr. Renee show. If you have never watched the show before, this show is here solely to motivate and inspire you to live the life you deserve. Because let's face it, we only have one life. This is not a dress rehearsal, so you better do it well while you're here. My guest today totally believes that, and she has made it very known in her brand new book, Bevelations. Please go get it. The link is in the description box below. But I am so excited to introduce you guys to my friend, Bevy Smith. Welcome.
Hello, my love. I'm so happy to be here with you. I've said on Twitter that you were my original Twitter friend.
So I tell this story all the time. And first, I have to do housekeeping. I always forget. Everyone, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Hence my lovely little graphic in the corner. And I have now my lifer list, the Live Life You Deserve, folks. So if you text Live Life to 66866, you can get on the list and you will find out about what's going on and when I'll be on and all that great stuff. So I have to tell the story. I tell everyone every episode. I always let you know how I know people. So Bevy used to actually commentate The View every day on Twitter. And actually, Bevy doesn't know this, but the reason that I actually started following her is because you did a dinner with Bevy with Chrisette Michelle. Okay. And I was a fan, and then I'm very cool with her mother now. And so I said, well, if they think that she's good people, I should follow her. So I started following you. And then you started commentating The View. And I had to be at work every day, so I would miss The View. And so did you know that I did not have internet on my phone when I first got on Twitter? And so I literally got text messages of tweets, and I only would allow only a few people. And you were one of the few people. And so I would see your commentate, and I was like, oh my gosh. And I would keep up with what was going on in The View. And then one day I kept telling my sister about you. So she started following you. So then we would both say stuff to you. And the funniest thing, she didn't know we were sisters. So one day we told her, and she tweeted to everyone, did you know that Dr. Renee and Foodie Engineer are sisters?
Yep. Yeah.
And then you've met like several of my friends. And so every time my friends are like, oh, Bevy Smith is at this event I'm at, I go, well, go say something. Tell her you're a friend of mine. She'll tell you I was her first Twitter friend. Yeah. And they're like, what? And then they come back to me. That's what she said. I said, I told you. I said, I told you that's what she's going to say. They're like, wow.
That was the good old days of Twitter when you could actually interact with people in that way.
Exactly. This was 2008. It was a lovely heyday of Twitter. And, folks laughed at me, much like I heard you in your book talk about when I said I was on Twitter. They were like, oh, you're wasting your time. And I was like, no, this is not a waste of time. This is actually work. And that's very much how I built my brand. Yeah. People knew me from Twitter. And I didn't have my picture at first on Twitter, as you know. And then slowly I let my picture come out. But it was funny. I would get into rooms and I would say, I'm Dr. Renee. And they're like, from Twitter? And I'm like, yeah, that is me. So, Bevy, what did you want to be when you were growing up?
Oh, well, that's too long of an answer. I mean, it just really depended on the day and on the era of growing up. But I think probably one of the most strongest dreams or visions that I had for my life when I was growing up is that I wanted to be a secretary, but like an executive assistant, like someone who ran an office and wore fabulous clothes and received fabulous gifts and actually made a really good salary. That's what I really like when I was probably in junior high school. That was probably like, oh yeah, I'll be an executive assistant. Because when I was growing up, those were some of the most glamorous women that I ever saw, like on subways. They would always be like going, they would be fabulously well dressed and they would be going to their offices and, that kind of thing. And so in my community, we had teachers and really it was a lot of teachers, or then it was like people that had just jobs that just got them through. But the secretaries, the women that did office work were always the most glamorous. And so I was like, oh, I want an office job. And that was before I even realized that I could be an executive myself versus being an executive assistant. So,
right. So Bevy is, your sister said a barmaid.
Yeah.
And I remember that was in the book as well.
Yeah.
But Bevy's from Harlem. And so, and she is Harlem, if you ask me. Like when I think of Harlem now, all I always think of is Bevy. So, so you grew up, you wanted to do that. Now you talk about how your family was a working family, and you have a brother and a sister, and they had a beautiful life in Harlem. And you decided to go a different path when you left school. You didn't go to college. You decided to get into the workforce.
Yeah. Well, I went to college after I joined the workforce. So I joined the workforce when I was 18 years old. I went back to school, probably I was like 21 or 22, and actually went to NYU. And I think it's important to note that because there's a real big difference between someone who drops out of like a school that's not very difficult and someone who drops out of a school that is very difficult. And the reason why I make that point of difference is that I never want to undermine anyone's idea that, about school and education. I never want people to think it's a flippant thing like, oh yeah, I didn't go to school. You don't have to go to school. You can still be successful. No, I did go to school. I just simply didn't graduate. And there is a difference. And it's important to note that because, again, when I go to schools and talk to kids, especially kids that are from inner cities, in the hood and things like that, I never really talk about the fact that I didn't graduate from NYU because I never want them to believe that they could do what I did in that regard. Because as we all know now, like when I dropped out of school, I was already in my career.
Right.
So I was already working and successful, and I was actually doing the things that I was going to school for. I went to school for marketing, and I was already a media director at an advertising agency. So I was literally doing, studying what I wanted to be. So that's why the rubber hit the road and why I didn't actually continue. But, for most kids, you can't even get your foot in the door, not even to become a secretary or receptionist or a clerk of some sort without a college degree. And we all know that. So Let's never, ever, ever, and I know that you're highly educated, as is your sister. So I just want to make that clear. But
no, definitely
want to downplay the importance of education and getting a damn degree. Because what I did, I got blessed and I was highly favored. But that's not the normal story for most of us, especially Black folks.
I was just about to say, especially Black people. And especially
all the accreditations, honey, because they're looking for any reason to keep you out of the workplace, to keep you out of the C-suite.
Or keep you underpaid yeah. So, and it's very important, especially in 2021, you really have to have your education. There are a few stories that, creep through the cracks, but in 2021, it's very competitive for white and Black. But as Black people, we really have to, we still have to do work doubly as hard as the next man to get done what somebody else could easily get done.
Yeah, they just walk in the door and there's nepotism, there's not the biases that we have to deal with, that we have to contend with. And so I talk about that a lot in my book, about being the only one in these rooms. I talk about the fact that, I had these incredible mentors. My mentor is the one, when I was working for this advertising agency called Jeff McKay, my mentor, Jeff McKay, is the one who was like, Bev, you can't keep missing meetings. I need you to go on business trips. And you're telling me that you have to, take a course or take a test or something. And meanwhile, you could teach the class. And I was like, yeah, but you don't understand. I'm a Black woman. I need my degree. And he was like, okay, I get that. But I need you to be here to take these meetings. So which one is it going to be? And so I made the decision and it worked out real nice for me. But I had a very strong mentor and I had someone who saw my intelligence and saw that I had the skill set. And so then he gave me all these opportunities. Most of us are not going to get that.
Right. Especially from a white man.
Especially from a white man. Most of us are never they're going to stop you right there. They might allow you to do the work, but they're definitely not going to pay you, and they probably won't give you even the title.
But you began to travel the world and all these amazing things. And then you just, once job led to another job, led to another job. So Bevy is, I mean, and I came, of course, I have an Ask Dr. Renee t-shirt on, but I'm not glammed, but Bevy dresses to the nines. And that was one of the other things that I always recognized when I saw her. As a matter of fact, remember I asked you, because I was like, oh, that dress, I could kind of wear something like that. And so I asked her, I was like, what kind of dress is that? Where would I get it? Because I don't do fashion, in case you never noticed. I don't do fashion. I take suggestions from others because that's just not my lane, and I know it's not. But you always dress so nicely. And I was like, we both have very happy girls on top. And I was like, so if she could wear that, then I could probably wear something like that too. And so with this fashion thing, I'm like, oh my God, you know so much. And I learned a lot, even more in the book. But Bevy, if she don't know nothing, she knows fashion. You've been to Milan and Paris and all these places to see these fashion shows. And I'm just like, wow. Yeah. Wow. And then to be at such a young age to do these things and have an expense account too while doing it. Yeah. No, and the best part I liked in the book, because I tell everyone when I've arrived, you'll know because I'll have a driver. You said you arrived to Italy and your same driver picks you up. Yeah. I love it. I love it.
Yeah. So that's a big part of the book. So let me just take the folks back. So my book, Bevelations, Lessons from My Mother, Auntie, Bestie, is a self-help memoir. And basically, I talk about how I changed my life. I was a very, very successful fashion advertising executive. I had worked at Vibe magazine in its heyday in the late 1990s, early 2000s, where I was responsible for breaking accounts like Gucci and Prada and Dior, all these luxury brands that had never, ever, ever advertised in fashion and Black magazines, and really, honestly, still have never done it again. Once I broke those accounts in Vibe, they did it, and they did it for all the years I was at Vibe. And then when I left Vibe, I left with all my relationships as well. And the people stopped advertising in Vibe, the luxury advertisers. And that's something that I did as a fashion and beauty advertising director. And then I left Vibe and I went to Rolling Stone magazine. Well, Rolling Stone was a very, very different type of space. It was an all-white space. I was the only Black woman on the sales team, and I was also the only woman as well. And so that meant that I was dealing with biases about, there was a hint of misogyny always in the air, and there was certainly always some kind of like a racial discourse happening, even if it was undercurrent of it, but there was always something there. Anytime you go into a space, and this was in 2005, anytime you go into a space and people still don't recognize that Black culture is pop culture, you simply have a problem. That is definitely something that you can't just say, well, I didn't know. Well, you did know. You work at Rolling Stone magazine and you look at the top of the charts in 2005, and it was Beyonce and it was Outkast and it was all these incredible Black artists. But the only Black artist they had on the cover of Rolling Stone out of 26 covers in 2005 was Jay-Z, one. But yet they had the Rolling Stones on one, and I think they had a couple of dead Beatles on one. So that just goes to show you that they were very, very hesitant to even acknowledge our culture. And so that was a problem for me. But I literally went there with the intention on collecting the check and getting out, because I knew that I wanted to change my life. When I was at Vibe magazine, I got that inkling. In my book, I talk about, this is one chapter called The Ugly Side of My Beautiful Life. And I talk about feeling very trapped, and I talk about feeling not like I wasn't being fulfilled in my current life, in my current space. And I was like, how do I change my life? And I think a lot of people out there are feeling that right now. Because of the pandemic, we've all gone through so many different things, and we've had so much of our life be ripped away from us, whether it be like, our friendships, because, once upon a time, we had these active social lives and we were able to go to work, and you forget how much of your life is connected with going to work, the commute, then the picking up of your coffee. Then when you get to the office, saying hello to people, having lunch with this one or that one, all that was gone. And then, of course, there's those of us who have lost people in the pandemic. And then, of course, there's also the loss of income, right? Mm-hmm. So many of us right now are being forced to pivot. And in my book, I talk about how to pivot. I talk about daring to dream. I talk about doing the work, and I talk about building a personal brand. And those are all the things that I did when I left Rolling Stone magazine at the age of 38 with the idea that I was going to pursue a life of creativity and freedom. And I was going to do that by becoming a TV personality. And it actually happened. So my book is something that I want people to take in as a self-help book, because if I can do it, I really do believe that a lot of people can do it, but it's going to take sacrifice. And I'll just tell you guys this real talk. Most people are not willing to sacrifice. Most
Amen.
people want to be comfortable, and they would rather be uncomfortable in their collecting their check, but they're not willing to go the extra mile. They're not willing to, like I did, go to housing court, stretch $1 so that you can have 3 meals a day from one can of salmon. You know what I mean? Like, I went from making $350,000 a year to making $35,000 a year. But it all paid out marvelously, because now that's not my story. Right. Now I'm back to making lots of money and living a really good, fulfilling life. But I had to go through a valley to get right back up to a peak, which is now I'm 54 years old, and I'm an author, and I'm a bona fide TV personality. I have a radio show, and now I've just started acting. And I actually just booked my first acting gig at the age of 54. But, and it's like I told you a long time ago, Dr. Renee, you can't hedge your bets. And I'm just going to tell you this blatantly. If you really want to do this, Dr. Renee, you have to stop hedging your bets. You have to figure out how you do this and only this. Because if you had just done this and only this, by now you would probably be making lots of money doing this. So it might be time for you to cut the cord, be uncomfortable, and start. What's your tagline?
Live life you deserve.
Are you living the life you deserve right now?
Well, I am. I mean, because this is really what I do, actually. But
you don't do any other jobs. This is how you make your money.
Well, now this is a good part of it, yeah. But I'll tell you about that later. But I don't really. I mean, I don't have.
You don't work a job.
No, you ain't know that,
girl. No.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Girl, I haven't had a job since 2013.
Get out.
Yeah.
So now you are just.
I am just Ask Dr. Renee. So I take all things that come this way. Ask Dr. Renee. I moderated a panel with your friend, Emil Wilbekin, 2 weeks ago.
That is awesome. So you moderate panels.
I host. I have a show, and actually your sister, I think, sent me a message. She took your mom to the doctor or something. I have a show that's in 45,000 doctors' offices across the country called Out of Office with Dr. Renee. So I'm on the little waiting room televisions doing little episodes. So I host, and I have a doctor talk to me. No, baby, we ain't talked in a while, and you got so busy that we didn't get to connect like we usually get to connect for a minute, So yeah, I've been busy.
Congratulations. Okay, so now, guys, now you see. Okay, this is so funny because this actually happened when I was on our show too. Because Dr. Oz was like, what do you tell people who feel like they want to change their lives, but they feel like they're too old, or they feel like they don't fit the profile, or they feel like, and I said, well, Dr. Oz, I would tell them, look at me and you. Dr. Oz got his show at the age of 50.
Right.
My first
He's been on for like 12 years, I think.
I don't even know, but point is, he got his show at 50. I got my show, Bravo's Fashion Queens, at the age of 45. And you got your freedom and your liberation in 2013. So that means almost 10 years of not having to work and only do these things that you're passionate about. So for anyone who believes that they can't, we're living proof.
Right.
You can.
Yeah. Exactly. And I am writing a book. This book it's not the book like this one is, but that one will be the next one. This one is still a little under wraps. I'll let you know, but we're working on it, and it's going to be out soon, very soon, like spring. So,
That is so
Bevy actually, she's right. She told me to quit doing everything. She told me that back when I did have my job. I never forget that. You did say that. My feelings were a little butthurt, but I go, either she really likes me or she's just mean.
But you know what? It's so funny, right? Because in the book I talk about that too, and I talk about like I had to temper my delivery, but also
yes.
to real talk, like I don't feel like people really excel by coddling them.
No, I agree. And people say the same thing about me. They're like, she's so mean. And I was like, I don't sugarcoat. I just tell you the truth. Like you asked, I'm telling you, no, that's a bad idea. Don't do that.
Yeah. Or it might, it's like one of those things, like if you really want something, like to me, and this is just me, but I look at all my friends who are incredibly successful that keep piecemealing at this life that they really want and never, ever, ever taking the big leap of faith. And I'm not talking about people that've got kids that they're putting through college and, people that are literally financing their elderly parents. And, we've all got our own different kinds of burdens, right? And only what you can weather as far as like a financial hit. Only you know that. I'm not here to dictate that to you. But what I am here to say is if you're living a life that you're miserable in, but you get to drive a car that you want to drive, and you get to live in a 10-bedroom house that you're miserable in every night, and you get to do all these things that were all part of your wildest dreams, but really inside you are miserable, that's when I tell you, okay, stop it, enough. Figure out a way to cut back on those things. Like I went from taking town cars to taking the bus. It's okay. Because really, and this is such a trite thing to say, but it's my truth for sure. If you do the things that you love and that you're really passionate about, you'll become very good at them. When you become very good at things, people will pay you. And then eventually people will pay you well for that. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden, you're living in the 10-bedroom house and you're driving the car that you want to drive, but you're actually really fucking happy too.
And you're living. Life is for living. Don't wait till you're dying to decide to live. Live now. That's why I say live the life you deserve today. This is not a dress rehearsal. No, I wake up every day, besides the fact now I got duties to do, but usually I just wake up when I feel like waking up. And back when I was in Chicago, in my apartment, I literally had the alarm for one day, and that was Sunday because I couldn't be late for God.
Yeah.
And I had to get to church. But otherwise, I just woke up when I woke up. I had the good sense not to set meetings in the morning because I knew that wasn't the time to have them.
Right.
And I set all my meetings in the afternoon. And I just
the life that you wanted.
Yes,
exactly. The life you wanted. And then of course, when the money started coming, so how long did it take before you started really making money at being Dr. Renee?
So in that first year, I went from writing for free to getting paid by the end of the first year.
But
getting paid to write.
But when did you start? Because like for me too, like instantly,
yeah,
I started working as Bevy Smith media personality. But for me, it took 7 years to literally start making money again, where I was able to like not have to worry about my bills.
Right. So it probably took me, like 2, maybe 3 years.
Great.
Yeah.
So talking to all the folks out there that are listening to our conversation, because I'd much rather us have a conversation than to even do an interview. So it took Dr. Renee 2 to 3 years of putting in the work and investing in herself for her to start making money. It took me longer. It took me 7 years. But it took 7 years, which is the number of completion in the Bible. But when it hit, it hit. So I went from trying to figure out financially, all these different things, to literally being on a big TV show on one of the largest cable networks, Bravo, and having people all of a sudden start giving me things again. Like, how, like, you ever notice, it seems like the celebrities, on all the people that don't need anything for free.
Get all the free stuff.
For free. I became one of those people. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm getting all these things for free. It's nice. And I had experienced that before when I was a fashion and beauty ad director at Vibe and at Rolling Stone. But it was sweeter this time because I was actually receiving these things because people were acknowledging that I was good at something that I loved doing, that I was passionate about. So you have to figure out, do you have the 2 to 3 years to invest in yourself?
Right.
Can you do that financially? And here's the other thing. What if your story is not Dr. Renee's? What if your story is Bevy Smith's, where it's 7 years, which is really a long time? And I would be lying if I said that, there's a chapter in my book called Broke but Blissful. And I love that chapter because I talk about how happy I was pursuing this new life, making this pivot. I was very happy. But like by year 6, I was like, okay, this has been a long time.
Right.
I called up my dear friend Ali Muhammad and I said, babe, I think I want to do a docuseries that follows me for this year, because either I'm going to hit it and like I'm going to get a TV show, or I'm going to go back and get me a nice big fancy advertising job. And I never did the show, but I hate that I didn't, because sure enough, that year
it happened.
And so that would have been a great testimony. It would have been a great visual testimony. So now all I have is a verbal testimony. But in between all of that too, I also created Dinner with Bevy.
Yes.
A business that I created where I match celebrities with fashion brands and other corporations and things like that. So doing that event really allowed me to create all these great celebrity relationships. But I created Dinner with Bevy because I was broke. So if I wasn't broke, I would have never become an entrepreneur. And then I would have never created Dinner with Bevy. Then I would never have all these relationships that I have with A-list celebrities, which means when I'm on my radio show, I would have never had people everywhere from Kerry Washington to Samuel L. Jackson to Kate Hudson to one of the last people to interview Cicely Tyson. I don't have all those relationships if I don't go broke, create Dinner with Bevy. Do you see what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So in my book, there's one of my Bevelations, which is everything is as it should be. Everything is as it should be.
Yeah.
Dr. Renee, how old are you now?
44.
Great. So the other number one mantra in my book is it gets greater later.
Yep.
Look at Dr. Renee at 44.
Yep.
And she's only going to soar. It gets greater later. Number one Bevelation. And
yep.
So what's next for you, Dr. Renee? What is next for you, my love? And what's your big, insane, audacious dream?
To have my show on a very larger platform.
What does that mean?
So it could be Hulu, it could be Netflix, it could be ABC, NBC.
What is it going to be? What is it? No, don't. There must be one space that you really want your show to be.
Look, I just TV. I don't know. Look, I could just say TV.
So then we ain't dreaming big enough.
Oh, okay. I don't know. I have to think about it.
Let me ask you this, Dr. Renee. So in the book, I talk about being on Page 6 TV and what a big deal that was.
Oh, yes. And that was so interesting to hear about.
Yeah. But it's nationally syndicated TV.
Right.
Which means that people can literally turn on their TV with no cable box, no nothing, and they can see the show. Right. So that's why Wendy Williams has been wildly successful, and Oprah. Those were nationally syndicated shows.
Right.
So that is the holy grail of TV. You can get a nationally syndicated TV show. That's the thing, and that can go on for years.
Yeah.
And you can make all the money. So I will ask you again, Dr. Renee, where do you see your show, Doctor?
Nationally syndicated. The Ask Dr. Renee show.
Yes.
And speaking
on TV?
Pardon me?
What time does it come on TV?
It comes on at 4 o'clock.
I love
Eastern Standard Time.
Huh?
4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time.
4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. That's after the moms have picked up the kids from school, you're thinking?
Yes.
And now they've got them, they made them their afternoon snack. And now all of a sudden they've got a little bit of downtime and they can watch the Dr. Renee show.
Yes.
Who's the first guest on the Dr. Renee show? Who's the dream guest?
I don't know.
Yes, you do, Dr. Renee. Stop playing with me.
I have to think. I really don't know.
Just spit it out. You're afraid to say it.
Oprah.
Thank
Oprah.
you. I knew it was Oprah. Girl, just own it. The first guest on the nationally syndicated show, Dr. Renee, the Dr. Renee show, is Oprah Winfrey. That's the first guest.
Yes.
That's our vision board. We just did a live vision board right there.
Yes.
That's what I do in my book. Live vision boards. I do a live vision board in my book for myself.
Right. Oh, yes, she did. She tells you, you got to read the book, you guys. You also have the, well, first I have to say, I had my only dinner that I ever had. I hosted a dinner for Chrisette Michelle. Do you remember this?
No.
Okay. So I tweeted about it, I guess, and Bevy saw it. And all I know is my phone rang and Bevy called me. It's the first time I ever spoke to her on the phone. And I literally froze. I was like, hello? And she goes, I see you're having a dinner. I just wanted to wish you good luck and let you know it's going to be great. And I literally bawled after I hung up the phone. I couldn't believe it. Do you remember that, Alicia? I could not believe Bevy called me to congratulate me on my dinner. I'm like, dinner with Bevy called me? Yeah. I was blown away. But yeah, so you have
encourage people.
You have living, yes, you have dinner with Bevy, living with vision, dining with Bevy, living with vision. So please talk about that because unfortunately, you know, the world shut down before I even got to attend one, but I know it's an amazing event.
Yeah, and we're going to be doing it now. The world is opening back up, so we're going to be doing it again. So we're going to probably launch for earliest will be summer, but definitely by fall because we think everything will be kind of like people will be vaccinated and things like that. And we still won't do a large group like before COVID. We did 50 to 75 people. We probably won't do them that large this time around, just due to COVID and everything. But Dining with Bevy Life with Vision was started because so many people wanted to come to my celebrity events, dinner with Bevy. And they would say, how can I come to a dinner? They would also write me and say,
uh-oh, she froze. Hello? Uh-oh. Hopefully she'll be back shortly. Like literally just froze. Oh no, I don't know what happened. Well, I will say this. Eva, I did see your question about how did she stay motivated. I think she kind of did answer that. So that's why I didn't ignore it. I saw it. Yes, please get the ebook, the audio book. It was amazing. Bevy reads it herself, which is always best when the author reads it to me. And of course, she can tell her story so well. Uh-oh. Okay. So hopefully she'll come back in a second. But, are you guys enjoying this? I think that she is amazing. I'm telling you, this book was really, really, really good. And a lot of it, some of it I knew, a lot of it I didn't. So I was like, wow. And I could see where I met her towards what was happening in her life and stuff. So it was really, really interesting to watch, to read, I mean, and to listen to as I did. But I am so excited for what she has for the future. Because like she said, she literally tells you in the book, exactly, this is what I'm going to do. She's going to do, I'm not going to tell you because I want you guys to read it, but she got some huge things on the pipeline. And like me, I know that these things are going to happen for her. Yes, she did interview me too, right, Eva? But I know these things are going to happen for her because she's Bevy. And I've watched her. Like, I literally watched her go from being Bevy on Twitter to all of a sudden she got to host The View. Who commentates The View on Twitter and then ends up sitting at the table with the ladies? Like, for real? And then because her book came out, she became a guest on The View recently. And the funniest thing about that is that my mom was like, there's a lady on TV, Bevy Smith. Do you know her? And I said, yes, I do. She goes, oh, she's going to be on The View in a minute. You should go and check it out. So I, of course, watched her on The View. I always support. I'm just going to check to see if she's coming back. Okay. So Yes, she ain't got time to be our personal life coach, so she gave us this book, and it is filled with all the nuggets. And so you can literally understand how to do things. If you're afraid, she did give you quite a little blueprint of how to do it and make it happen. And ain't nobody got a whole lot of money to try and make it happen. You need to utilize what you have, and that's why I always tell people social media is really great because it's free if you use it properly. And if you don't use it properly, I can't help you. But if you use it properly, social media is amazing. I'm telling you, that is how Dr. Renee got to where she is, because I created this persona on Twitter. And then we grew from there to the other places, and people came in and people started following and people started watching and then here we are today. So I hope that you all will please definitely, okay, hold on one second, guys. Okay, one second. This is what happens when you have live TV, you guys, but it's okay. We're fine. We're calm. We're fine. We'll be good. Just bear with me, guys. 1 second. Okay. So yeah, it's social media can be your best friend. You just have to use it properly. And when you use it properly, world of things can happen. I mean, like we said, we met via Twitter. We met in person at the Essence Festival the summer after we had met on Twitter. We were both at Essence. I had told her I was there. She said she was going to be there, and we connected. And every year, that's our little family reunion. We meet at Essence. Then also, her sister, who is amazing, and thank you, Steffi. I hope you're watching and listening. Who is amazing. Thank you so much. Stephanie was so helpful in helping me to get this interview going. But Stephanie helped me out because I'm a Girl Scout. I was a Girl Scout leader, and she was really active in Girl Scout leader with her child. And so she was like, oh, I have lots of stuff. And so she helped me out. And what we would do is when I would be in the city, me and my sister would meet with Bevy and her sister. And, remember there was an earthquake in New York. I forgot how many years ago. We were all having lunch together, and all of a sudden our phones started blowing up because everyone's like, oh my God, did you feel that? Where are you? Did it? And we were experiencing it, but we didn't even really know. It was really kind of funny. Yes, Bevy's set is fabulous. But, Bevy's been going her radio show. She's actually been doing some Zooms with it as well. So you can see her while she's doing her interviews. So, and then, of course, she did her whole press tour from that same set. She was on, like I said, The View. What other shows did I see her on? Wendy, she actually went to the studio. But The View, she was at home. A couple other places she was on that set. So, yeah. Yeah, this book it was really, really good, you guys. She has a lot of really great stories. I wanted her to tell one in particular. Oh no. I wanted her to tell one in particular about somebody that I've had a crush on for a very long time. So we'll see if we can get her back and she can tell us that. But does anyone have any questions for me? Like, you guys, I mean, I'll be very honest with you. I didn't tell Bevy the part where I didn't actually leap. I was kind of pushed out of the plane. My job was actually eliminated. It just disappeared. And so I didn't have the option of I quit. I kind of was quit. So, so when you're forced, the name of her show is the same as the book, Bevelations. And if you look in the box below, there's a link to buy the book, but this is the name of her radio show. It's on every day at 6 p.m. on Eastern Standard Time on Bravo Andy channel on Sirius XM. But please definitely check it out. Check her out. I'm sure if you follow her, that's the other thing. Please follow her at Bevy Smith. Very simple. It's just her name, at Bevy Smith. And if you read the book, you'll understand where that came from too. That's a little story in itself as well. But at Bevy Smith is her name on everything. She's a big, huge person on Twitter and Instagram. So please make sure you follow her and she'll let you know what's going on. Eva, I'm glad. I am so glad. Hold on. But yeah, it's not, honestly, I always tell everyone, if you do what you're supposed to be doing, the money will come. And I know this to be true myself, because I would never have imagined that I would be in all these doctors' offices. Never. My goal really was to get to Good Morning America and to talk about health. I haven't made it to Good Morning America yet, but guess what? One of my friends from Michigan State, she's on Good Morning America this weekend. She's actually a fellow Michigander as well, fellow Oakland County person. That's the county we grew up in. And Kelly Carter. So she's going to be guest hosting on Good Morning America Saturday and Sunday. So that, it's so funny because when I saw Bevy get her show when she got Fashion Queens, and then Paul Carrick Brunson had a show every week, I literally had a friend on TV almost every day of the week. And I was like, you know what, if they can do it, I can do it, because I was like, Mom, I'm in the room. I'm just waiting for them to call my number. And I'm still in the room. I'm just waiting for them to call my number. And I always stay ready. So I'll be ready when they call it. Thank you. Yes. My pivot was that my job quit me. So I just had to keep going. And I had to do whatever it was I was supposed to do. I didn't know this is what I was supposed to do, but my friends knew. They kept saying, Renee, this is what you're supposed to do. And I was like, but I have to feed myself and I have to keep a roof over my head. But because Ask Dr. Renee, I was able to write columns and get paid. I was able to, host. I was able to do a whole bunch of things. And I do a lot of influencer work. I work with brands and talk about their products that I love. So it wasn't a stretch. It was products that to me made sense. Health and wellness products is usually what I talk about. And so that's that. And I will tell you guys, the book is coming in May. And I'm not going to tell you the title, but May is a special month. And that's why it's coming out in May. And I'm really excited to become, well, I am an author. I have a chapter in a book. Some years ago, a couple years ago, but I'm very excited that this book is going to finally come to fruition. Yes. So I was so excited though to get Bevelations because, like I said, I met Bevy at the beginning of my Twitter days. So that was 2008. And so I've known her a little bit. And thank you, Stephanie. I've known her a little while, and I'm one of those people who cheers for their friends. Like when she was on The View that day as the host, I was telling everybody, I did a post on Facebook about it and was like, everybody needs to go and watch The View because my friend Bevy Smith is hosting today. So I cheer for my friends. I love when they do great and amazing things. When Bevy does her things at Essence, I try to make sure I'm there to support. Stephanie, we love you too. Stephanie and Bevy, like I said, they're sisters just like me and my sister, and they're tight like me and my sister. Stephanie gets Bevy together. My sister, the only reason why she's not getting me together right now is because she's at work right now. But usually my sister is the executive producer of the show, Stephanie, and she's sending me things and telling me what to ask and what to say and don't do this and don't do that. So me and my sister are like you two. I remember that we went to New York a few years. Well, I went to New York. My sister lived in Jersey. My clients were on the radio. They were on Sirius XM. And I told Stephanie, I was like, we're going to be in the building. She's like, oh, well, let Bevy know. So sure enough, Bevy came down and met my clients and we took pictures and stuff. And Alicia hadn't seen her in a couple of years, but I had just seen her at Essence that summer before or whatever. But it was great. We had our little moment and got to say hi and stuff. But yes, Lemonurdy, Eden. I love Eden. You guys have to follow Lemonurdy. And Stephanie has a catering business, Miss Lolly's Kitchen. Follow her. That's, like I said, that's Bevy's older sister. Follow her on Instagram as well. I have not had the pleasure of tasting her food, but I'm sure it is divine. Her and Alicia need to get in the kitchen together and do a little some. Foodie engineer and Miss Lolly's kitchen come together. Also, I was hopefully Bevy will come back. And if not, we will try and figure out something. But Bevy unfortunately did have COVID. By the grace of God, thank you, she is still with us. Unfortunately, though, Mr. Smith, their father, did not make it. And he died of COVID. It's almost a year. I'm sorry, 5 p.m. channel 102 on Sirius XM. 5 p.m. Eastern, channel 102 on Sirius XM is Bevelations. Every day, that's her radio show. And she has lovely guests every day. And just honestly, her show is about positivity. And she talks about everything. And it's a positive show. It's not, when she interviews people, she's not trying to dig up their dirt and stuff. It's positivity. So please listen to the show. I've obviously listened to the show myself, so I know. That's what I'm telling you. It's a great show. But yes, their father didn't make it with COVID, but Bevy did. Thank you, Jesus. And so she's experienced the whole thing with COVID. The lockdown, the sickness, the loss, everything. But still I rise, right? Still I rise. And if you read the book, you'll notice the book was written partly during COVID. So definitely check out the book. Oh no, I think somebody just got in trouble, you guys. Please don't forget, and I have a little banner for you. There you go. Text Live Life to 66866. Live Life to 66866. That is how you join my list so that you'll know about all things that are happening with Ask Dr. Renee. And you'll be the first to know because I send those emails out. So definitely please join the list. Feel free to visit my website. My website is, it's got a whole bunch of stuff. I really just want you to live life you deserve. So I have money saving things. I got travel info. I got everything to help you to enjoy your life. Because I want you to enjoy your life. What else did I need you to see on here? I think that was it. I just want to, don't forget. I always forget this whole list thing. And so today I remembered. I think all of you are subscribed, so I appreciate you. And if you're watching and you're new and you're watching the replay, thank you and welcome. And don't forget to hit the notification bell so you know when we go live. You know, the Ask Dr. Renee shows every Saturday at 3 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And next week we have April Watkins of Syrup Nails, and you will want to hear this story. I promise you do. And so she is amazing. And then the last week of March, we have Alicia Butterfield Jones. If you have seen anything going on with the Grammys this week, Black Music Collective, she is the I don't want to get her title wrong, but she's in charge of diversity, inclusion, and equity for the Recording Academy. So you might have seen her on some things this week that she's been hosting because the Grammys are on Sunday. So that's our guest the last Sunday of this month. But Saturday. You guys help me. I'm losing it. Okay. So I don't know, you guys. We don't have much time left, but I hope you enjoyed the conversation. I told you, and I think you've recognized if you watch the show, I try to have conversations with people. I don't want to just dart them with questions and, they throw answers at me. No, it should be a conversation. And Stephanie, did you see that one? Hopefully Stephanie saw that one. Maybe Bevy can come back for a part 2 later. Once they've all read the book, it'll be our book club. But yeah, I like to have conversations because conversations are easier. And not to mention that, especially when I know somebody, then you really end up seeing, it's like you're listening in on my conversation with my girlfriend because I really don't talk to the people that much before we go live. So therefore they're kind of just catching it. They just, and me and Bevy, we haven't seen each other. We haven't talked, there was no Essence this summer. So we haven't caught up. So she didn't know some of the things that were going on. So, yeah, but I'm telling you guys, I will never forget the day that she was like, Renee, you need to quit everything. Then I was like, is she crazy? But yes, since 2013, I have been a solopreneur, and Ask Dr. Renee has been taking pretty good care of me. So thank God. And thank you guys for watching, because, you know, YouTube is one of my streams of income that comes in as well because of Ask Dr. Renee. So I'm very appreciative of that. Oh, awesome. Thank you so much, Dr. Bradley. Dr. Lisa, that's my friend. She's the best. So, yes, 66866 is the number, and you text Live Life, and that's how you join my list. Thank you so much. I'll leave that up there for now. And yeah, so look, I turn all notifications off, so I have to keep checking my phone because it's not going to vibrate or anything, and it won't pop up on my screen. So I don't think she's going to make it back. We think there might have been an internet issue. So, and Lord knows we need her to fix that because she has to do her show today. So, hopefully we can have a part 2. Oh my goodness, Stephanie, you should not be intimidated by Foodie Engineer. You've got years on her. Don't tell her I told you. You've got years on her. But Stephanie, like I said, I don't know if you heard, but hopefully we can do a part 2. My friends want to read the book, and then we can come back and they'll have read the book, and we can, they can, you know, they'll have questions because they'll actually have read the book. Like I said, I don't want to give it away. I want you all to read it because it really is a great read. She has lived, and that's why she is a mother, auntie, and bestie, because she has lived and she has experienced so much. She's been to, I think, every continent but one, I think. And she said she was saving that one for her 70s or something, I think she said. I forgot. But she's truly, truly well-traveled. See, Stephanie, even Foodie Engineer told you. But you guys, thank you so much for coming and sticking with me, because you guys didn't even leave. I so appreciate you. And hopefully, like I said, we can get this going. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, so it is her internet. They're doing maintenance that she didn't know about. So isn't that the way it always works? But it's okay, you guys. Like I said, hopefully we can pick up where we left off. And that time you guys will have read the book and you guys can enjoy the conversation even more. And you'll have questions for me to ask her. Because when I tell you, this book is so amazing. And if you hear about, because like I said, follow her, Dining with Bevy, Life with Vision, go and tell her I sent you, and she'll tell you I was her first Twitter friend. So thank you so much. Stephanie, you are the best. And you know that we big sisters have to stick together. Me and Stephanie are the big sisters, and we have to stick together. And Stephanie even let me interrupt her dinner last night, but she is the best. I love you, Stephanie. And please, I love you, Bevy. You are the best, and I so appreciate you and all your words of wisdom you've given to me through the years. And then at just her example, I've been watching her and just watching her move. I've learned things. She's my mentor. She doesn't even really know it, I don't think, but I've watched her move. I've seen it, and I've seen all of the transformation. It's so amazing to me to be able to say that that's my friend, but I'm so proud of her. And I'm so excited for her because, like I said, even bigger things are to come. Maybe one day me and Bevy will work together. Because what she didn't let me finish was my first week of shows. If you watch the Michelle Williams episode of the Ask Dr. Renee show, she said to me on air that she would be my guest. She'll be a guest on my show. And so Michelle Williams will be on my show that first week, and so will Bevy Smith. So I'm telling you guys right now, the Ask Dr. Renee show is a syndicated talk show, and Bevy Smith, Michelle Williams, and Oprah Winfrey will be at my show for the first week. Okay. So I said it. There, I said it. I put it out there. Next Saturday, 3:00 Eastern Standard Time, right here. Same time, same place. Tell your friends, tell everyone if you need some motivation and inspiration to get off of your behind and make it happen. And get where the money resides, because I keep telling you, the money resides where happiness lies. Ooh, Eva, write that down. Sissy, write that down. Because that's the truth. That is the God's honest truth. you got to do things afraid. You can't be so prepared. You have to be afraid to do it. And if you're afraid to do it, it'll get done. And I'm telling you, the most amazing things happen to me because I just do them. Because I don't, and I might not have a clue what I'm doing. I will never forget when I got the out of office with Dr. Renee, they asked me to do a screen test. Bevy will find this really funny because she's a TV person. I know what a screen test was. I'd heard the term, but I didn't know what it was. I just heard of it. And apparently I did well because I got the show. But I'm saying, you know, you got to just do things and can't be afraid. And my whole motivation and inspiration behind this show, I was terrified, you guys. I was terrified. I don't know if I told you this story before, but I literally emailed 5 people my idea for this show, and my whole intent was to not do the show. So when the 5 people said they would all be on the show, I said, darn it, I done told people that means I have to do it. So I was petrified and I did it. Even to this day, when I start, I'm usually chattering. I'm like, before I start. And mind you, my guests are usually my friends, but I'm still like, oh my God, oh my God. But you guys, I do it anyway. So what you have to do is take the first step. And guess what? You might not know what the second step is, but I promise you, that's what faith is. It'll just come and you'll just keep moving. You just keep moving. So you have to take the first step though, because if you don't take the first step, then the second one won't come and the third and the fourth. But if you're so worried about what all the steps look like, that's where you're wrong. What you need to know is what you would like to do at the end, because even that, I don't know what it looks like. But if you know what you would like at the end, oh my God, the journey can be amazing. Like I said, Out of Office with Dr. Renee was nothing in my radar. Ebony Magazine wasn't in my radar. Essence wasn't in my radar. Like all these things I've done were never in my radar. It wasn't in my radar to have Bevy on my show. It wasn't in my radar to have Michelle Williams on my show because it wasn't on my radar to have this show, right? But, you know, the network haven't given me a show yet. So I'm doing my own thing, right? You build it and they will come. So here I am. So let me be an example. Let Bevy be an example that anything is possible. You just have to do it. And if you watch those first shows, you will see that I did not have the equipment I have now and the lighting I have now. You have to start somewhere. And if you have to start with your phone, start with your phone because you may not have a computer, but you can do this with your phone too. And if you need to talk to me about it, let me know and I can try and help you. But you gotta start. And you know, Stephanie, this is Bevy's sister, Stephanie, she was a really great cook. Now all of a sudden she's Miss Lolly's Kitchen, because she started cooking for other people outside of her family and outside of her circle. And now people are asking for things from her. And so now she has a whole business. You got to start somewhere. And Stephanie is a mom. She's a grandma. She's a wife. And she's a sister and a daughter. She's very busy. But she could do it. So you can do it. Lemonardy, Miss Eden just does everything, okay? Miss Eden is 15 and doing it all, okay? So, look, I try to have the energy of the 15-year-old, but not really. But you guys just do it. Thank you so much for hanging in there with me today, and I will see you guys next week, okay? You all are amazing and awesome, and I am so, so thankful for my audience because without you, I'd be talking to myself, right? So I appreciate you and all the millions of comments. And you guys, last week's show has 1,300 something views. Let's see, can we double it? But thank you so much to everyone that joined us last week with Jolene GC. I hope you guys heard her. I'm trying to tell you, the lady gave us money tips. And did you watch her last night with Kathy Wood in the Come Up series? Kathy Wood gave us money tips, right? So, and if you don't know Kathy Wood is, just look up ARK Invest, A-R-K Invest, and you will see Kathy Wood. But thank you so much. Everyone have a most fabulous day. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. I know I will. Thank you, Derek. We're all we got because we're all we need. Exactly. And don't forget to become a lifer. Text Live Life to 66866. Hit the notification bell. I think it's somewhere over here. And I'll see you next week. Bye.